President, Mr. Thomas Hudson. He was gracious enough to show up as he's got a very busy schedule, as all of you, and so thank you again for showing up. I'm Maurice Mangum, Chair of the Department of Political Science, and I and students have put together this panel of candidates for you guys to help determine who you're going to vote for next Tuesday night. Now, one of the things I want you to understand is that the Department of Political Science, as well as the constituent units of the College of Liberal Arts under the direction of Dr. K.D. Turner, we are trying to be very substantive and informative to the community. And we want to make certain that we have a very good, vibrant relationship with you all as part of our engaging the community and doing some outreach. So this panel is designed to help give you information to help make that vote next Tuesday night. And if you would, please follow the department on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We pass out that information. And so we want you to see all our exploits and a number of things that we'll be doing in the future in terms of community engagement and community outreach. Okay, let me go ahead and explain a couple of things. If you do need to leave, please exit that door, and if you need to come back through that door, okay? It'll mess with the video as well as the audio if you come use these doors. Please use that door. As far as the format, we have prepared questions for the candidates. We have 8 questions that we prepared for the candidates. After we get done with those, then we'll turn it over for the audience. And you guys have index cards. And if you need an index card, just raise your hand. When you're done with writing the question on the index card, raise it up. One of our students can come grab those index cards. And when we get to the audience part, we will be able to read those questions for you. So, as far as the questions go, each candidate will have 1 minute to answer the question. And if they reference a different candidate in their response, then that candidate they reference will have 30 seconds to rebuttal. We do have a timekeeper. I'll be the timekeeper. I'll be sitting up front to let you all know how much time you have remaining. So let's go ahead and meet the candidates. And they are listed in alphabetical order by their last name. And these are the candidates that RSVP'd by a deadline. We had an administrative deadline. These candidates RSVP'd. As you know, there are more than 8 candidates who are running for office, but these are the ones that stayed in touch with the department and demonstrated their willingness to participate. First, let's start with Mr. Chrysler. He is currently serving as the interim sheriff of Hinds County. Prior to this position, he worked as a Hinds County deputy sheriff and a Hinds County Jackson City council member. He is an adjunct professor at Jackson State, Belhaven, and director of adult education and dropout recovery at Hinds Community College. Next to him, we have Ms. Beverly Williams. She is a retired FBI supervisor and special agent with over 30 years of military experience and law enforcement experience at the state and federal levels, which includes serving as a sergeant with active police, leading a crime program in Dallas, Texas, and serving as an assistant chief of police. Next to her, we have Mr. Tyrone Jones. Currently, he leads the Criminal Investigation Division of the Hinds County Sheriff's Office. He serves as a captain in the Hinds County Sheriff's Office and is a former commander of the Jackson Police Department. He has spent over 22 years in law enforcement. Next to him, we have Leon Seals. He's currently the Hinds County Constable for District 4. He is a 2000 graduate of the FBI National Academy of Quantico, Virginia, with 32 years of law enforcement experience. 6 of those years were with the Hinds County Sheriff's Office. Next to him, we have Mr. Richard Stewart. He is a former United States Marine and has 20 years of experience as a deputy sheriff in the Hinds County Sheriff's Office. He has worked in various areas of law enforcement, including jail management, narcotics, and as a SWAT team member. And next to him, we have Mr. Les Tannehill Jr., currently as Hinds County Sheriff Deputy. He began his law enforcement career at the Hinds County Sheriff's Office in 1978. He also served with the Jackson Police. In his career, he earned 10 Officer of the Year awards and 61 written commendations. And next to him, we have Mr. Reginald Thompson. He has more than 30 years of law enforcement experience, which includes 20 years as the Hinds County Deputy Sheriff. And last but not least, we have Mr. Eric Wall. He has 35 years of professional law enforcement with 29 years of frontline executive management experience. He retired from the Jackson Police Department at the rank of Deputy Chief of Operations after 31 years. He served as acting sheriff of Hinds County following the death of Lee Vance. Let's have a round of applause for our candidates. Now, before we get to asking the prepared questions, we're going to give each candidate 2 minutes for their opening statement. And so, Mr. Chris, I'm going to start with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me say good evening and thank you all for being here today. I want to thank specifically the Jackson State University, DI Love, for having us in the Department of Political Science for your hosting. And I am Marshawn Christopher, the current sheriff, and I am a lifelong resident of Jackson, Mississippi. I'm a product of Jackson Public Schools. I graduated from Fort Wayne High School. I joined the United States Marine Corps when I was 18 years old. I'm a combat veteran of the Gulf War. I continued my military service as the Honorary Discharge of the Marine Corps in the Army. Joined the Hinds County Sheriff's Department in 1992 as a narcotics officer. I continued my career in law enforcement. I became Chief of Police of the Utica Police Department. I also served as the Public Safety Commissioner for the City of Jackson. I got 2 degrees in criminal justice, one from Hinds Community College and one from here at Jackson State University. I also have a second degree from Jackson State University in Public Policy and Administration. I'm currently in my dissertation phase in here at the As I indicated, I also continued my service in the Army and served another combat tour in Iraqi Freedom from 2004 to 2005. Also, as indicated, adjunct professor in criminal justice at Jackson State University. At Hinds Community College, political science professor here at Jackson State University. To continue that, tonight I hope to make the distinction between myself and the other candidates here about why I'm best fit to keep this job as your sheriff. And that is by showing you my lengthy career in areas that are quite important for this position. That is in law enforcement, that is in administration, that is in budget, and that is in leadership. All of this, I have years and years of experience. This is an important job, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope and trust that you understand that I believe that it is the most important election we're being faced in our life. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Excellent.
Can you hear me? Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you, Ms. Maynard, President Hudson, Kimberly, everyone here. My name is Beverly Harris Williams. I am a retired supervisory special agent in the FBI. I started my law enforcement career here on JCD as a field supervisor, where I trained various people in this ordinance, where I supervise various people in this ordinance. Former education. I have a BS in criminal justice, a master's in education. I am, Ms. Mayor, you made a distinction about the assistant chief. I was the assistant chief of the FBI in Washington, D.C., and went on to become the chief within 2 weeks of being assigned there, making history for the FBI. Never before in their history had they had a female chief of police to lead the FBI in Washington, D.C. I'm also the first African American female to ever be assigned to the state of Mississippi from the FBI. I have over 31 years of law enforcement experience. As the chief of the FBI police, I supervise 256 uniformed police officers and 100 civilian personnel. And those individuals were spread out within 5 geographical regions. Okay? As the military officer, I spent 13 years. I'm a vet. I'm not a vet, a Vietnam vet. I'm a veteran of the United States Army. I spent 13 years in the United States Army, serving both here and overseas. I, too, am a graduate of Jackson State University. I attend Lanier High School, 833. I have extensive experience as it relates to coordinating with federal, state, local law enforcement officers. Those are some of the qualities that I bring, being able to work with them from day one, not wondering who you need to call if you need federal assistance, but being able to get them on the phone. Okay, also, I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. I'm a member of Jackson State Alumni Association, as well as the New Alumni Association. I retired 4.5 years ago. I volunteered with the high school. I volunteered with Johnson Elementary School. I volunteered with the NAACP. Is my dad? Okay. Anyway, I'll tell you all more as we go when you hear this. All right, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Again, thank you for allowing us to display our candidacy on this forum tonight to be elected to be the next Hinds County Sheriff. We're very appreciative of your indulgence in allowing us to be able to perform tonight. My name is Tyrone Jones. I am a lifelong resident of Jackson, Mississippi, Hinds County. I have a 22-year law enforcement experience. I worked with the Jackson Police Department for 20 years, where I served in several roles within the Jackson Police Department, to include leadership roles as well. During my tenure with the Jackson Police Department, I was able to formulate relationships and partnerships within the community in the city of Jackson and Hinds County as well. After my departure from the Jackson Police Department, I've been with the Hinds County Sheriff's Office, where I'm currently employed as a captain with the Criminal Investigations Division, and I've been here for 2 years. For 22 consecutive years, I have solely dedicated my life to serving the citizens of Hinds County. I haven't had a desire to go anywhere else but to continue to serve what I would consider home. Based on me serving the citizens of Hinds County and the relationships that I have formulated during my time, I believe that I am qualified, along with several other components, to be elected as the next Hinds County Sheriff. I build partnerships, relationships with not only the community, but I also build partnerships and relationships with other law enforcement agencies that I would like to see. My name is Tyrone Jones, and I'm asking to be elected as the next Hinds County Sheriff. Thank you.
All right, good evening. My name is Constable Leon Sills. I'm a two-term constable. I'm a graduate of Jackson State. I was also drafted from Jackson State in the 4th round by the Buffalo Bills. What you don't know is the whole time I played with Buffalo Bills, I was the Erie County Sheriff Deputy in Buffalo in the off-season. So I never came back home. I became a public servant a long time ago, wearing the uniform and never taking it off. I'm a graduate of the FBI Academy, graduated in 2000. I started with Macmillan back in '93. I worked my way into jail, all the way up to a commander, investigator of a unit. I have over 32 years experience. So not only did I play professional football, I don't want you to say he's a football player, but I'm a football player with 32 years experience in law enforcement. I've also, 16 of those years was in Sheriff McMillan camp. Now, and I'll tell you this, I can't fill the shoes of Lee Vance or McMillan or anybody in between, but I'm ready to hit this job. I'm ready to serve, and I'm ready to learn as I go. And when I say that is, I have a 15-day, my first 15 days on the job plan. That plan was released last week, and that is what I will do in the first 15 days. I will pass that out to you. Hopefully I get a chance to talk to you about it. I know you give me 1 minute, I'm trying to get it all in. And hopefully I get a chance to talk to you about it. But I do, I'm the only candidate with a 15-day plan of taking office. And that first 15 days, I promise you, you will see a difference in Hinds County. My name is Leon Sills, and I'm vowing to be your next sheriff of Hinds County. I'll be real, honest. What you see is what you get, but at the same time, I'll be honest enough to let you know when something's wrong. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Spooner. I'm a candidate in this special election. I'd like to take the time to remind everybody of the tragic circumstances that caused this election. For that reason alone, I would like to thank Dr. Mangum and Jackson State for giving us the opportunity to get out and speak, because there's a short amount of time and everybody's working hard. I would also like everyone here to give yourselves a hand, because this is the largest group that we've had as a candidate I've seen out of all the events that we've had. Thank you for that. With that being said, my name is Richard Spooner. I'm a South Jackson resident where I still live today. I was a graduate of Wingfield High School. As soon as I graduated, I joined the United States Marine Corps. After I was honorably discharged in 1993, I came home back to South Jackson, became a certified police officer, and started working at the Hinds County Sheriff's Department. I worked there for 22 years. I started in the jail, worked in patrol, promoted to narcotics, commander of the narcotics division, commander of the warrants division, all the while being on the SWAT team for 19 years. I'm running my campaign on 3 core values. First and foremost, integrity. Next is dedication and experience. I have several missions that I want to talk with each and every one of you about tonight. My name is Richard Spooner. Thank you.
My name is Les Tannehill, and I'm over a 30-year veteran of law enforcement. I started my career back in 1978 with the Hinds County Sheriff's Department with J.D. McAdory. Then in 1980, I went to the Jackson Police Academy, became a Jackson police officer. In 1992, I started with Sheriff Malcolm McMillan, worked with him 14 years, working my way up to rank of lieutenant investigation. The Sheriff's Department or the Police Department can't do it by itself. This is going to take partnership. I work task force with the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, and the ATF, I call it back in farm. All these organizations have to go through a thorough background check, check out my past, my history. We've got to do better, folks. We keep doing the same thing over and over again and keep getting the same results. I heard on the news today, I've got to bring this up, is that the murders on the rise, like they are, that course of plan is for no change. They're going to do it like it is. We've got to do better. As sheriff, I will implement plans and programs I've been using. I learned under Sheriff McMillan. I was a right-hand man whenever there was an issue in the city or the county. He always called on me to deal with it, and I went out and dealt with it, using satisfactory results. We've got to do our research. There's 13 candidates here, and I'm not here to run against any of these candidates. I'm here running for citizens of Hinds County and the city of Jackson. Bring change. Stop some of these young lives being taken on our streets every day. We're bound for a record year being in homicide. We've got to do something. We've got to stop it. My name's Les Tannehill, and you can see a lot more about my past, my history by going to my website, www.tannehillforsheriff.com. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank Jackson State for having me. My name is Reginald Thompson. I'm also a candidate for Sheriff of Hinds County. My career in law enforcement started in 1980 when I graduated from Florida. I joined the United States military for 4 years. Came back as a sergeant. At the time, I joined both Marine Corps, came to be in law enforcement. I stayed there from 1992 I joined the Sheriff's Department from 1992 to 2018. In 2013, I retired. I'm also a military vet. I joined the National Guard from 1984 to 2018 when I retired. I held 3 deployments. I retired as rank of a master sergeant. All my training, responsibility, leadership come from the United States Army. That's the kind of program I'm going to put back in the Sheriff's Department. My thing is loyalty, honesty, and respect. We put that back in the police department, the Sheriff's Department, and work with the citizens of Hinds County to make it a better place. My name is Reginald Thompson, and I'm going to be a sheriff.
Good evening, everyone. If it was not for the grace of God, I would not be here today. Thank you, Jackson State University and citizens of Hinds County, for giving me the opportunity to come today and share with you the good news. My name is Eric T. Wall, and I am running for Sheriff of Hinds County. I have 35 years of professional law enforcement experience. I served as Chief Deputy and Interim Sheriff for Hinds County. I retired from the Jackson Police Department as Chief Deputy or Deputy Chief, whichever, after 31 years of service. During my tenure with the Jackson Police Department, I served as the Precinct 1 Commander, Precinct 3 Commander, Precinct 4 Commander, Commander of Special Investigations, Commander of Major Investigations, Commander of Centralized Investigations, commander of the civil disturbance team, commander of dignitary protection. During my tenure with the Jackson Police Department, I was wounded 4 times in the line of duty. Yet, I am still working for the citizens of Hinds County. I attended Jackson State University, where I also played football. I served in the United States Army Reserve and served 3 tours of duty. Honorably discharged. I didn't have to come tonight and say what plan that we're going to put together. I have for publication the plan that Hinds County is already working on, as well as a $10 million plan that we put in place. Right now, we're ready to go to work. But I want to make this perfectly clear to the candidates on stage, specifically one. I received a call on Thursday night. I do not accept threats, and I am not intimidated. There's going to be some repercussions behind it. Now, and this is what you need in a sheriff. You gotta have someone that stands up for people that can't stand for themselves. I can stand for Hinds County. I can stand for you. My name is Eric T. Walker, and I'm running for Hinds County.
Thank you, candidates, for those opening statements. Thank you, candidates. The Department of Political Science, by all the constituent academic units of the College of Liberal Arts, believe in giving students a chance and empowering them and giving them opportunities to excel. And so tonight is no different. I've got a number of outstanding students from the Fannie Lou Hamer Pre-Law Society who will be serving as our questioners. And they put together 8 outstanding questions that are really going to elicit some very good responses from the candidates. So let me introduce the 4 questioners who will be each asking 2 questions. First, we have Mr. Ezra Snell, Jr. He's from Clinton, Mississippi. He's a sophomore majoring in sociology, minoring in psychology, and his career aspirations are to be a sociologist. Next, we have Ms. Chioma Agunma. She hails from Atlanta, Georgia. She's a senior majoring in political science, and she hopes to work as legal counsel for the federal government. Next, we have Ms. Carrington Blair. She comes from Rocket City, Houston, Texas. She's a sophomore criminal justice major, and she's aspiring to be a corporate lawyer, a sports attorney, a real estate attorney, and own her own law firm in Texas. We have Miss Carissa Forrest. She's a freshman coming to us from Longview, Texas. She's a major of criminal justice, and she one day will be a defense attorney. Now, a feat like this takes more than just questioners, so I want to recognize a couple of other students that are helping tonight, but may not be asking questions. Courtney Graves. She's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She's a freshman majoring in political science with a legal studies concentration, and she too wants to become an attorney. Here we have Mr. Roderick Talley. He's from Durant, Mississippi. He's a junior, double major of political science and psychology. He wants to become a defense attorney, civil rights attorney, create his own public defender's office to represent those who cannot afford adequate representation, and he also wants to become mayor of Durant in the next election. Also, I want to recognize some of the people who are doing some live streaming. One Voice, Mississippi is here, and Ryan is recording, Facebooking for them. Also, we have Women for Progress in Mississippi. They're here as well. And the department Facebook Live page is streaming as well. And the president of the Fannie Lou Hamer Free Law Society, President Aaron Eatman, is running that for us. Where you are, Aaron? I know of very few students who've got it more together than Aaron. Okay, so let me go ahead and bring up Mr. Snell so he can ask our question, ask a question for the first candidate, and they're going to go in alphabetical order. So the first question is going to be answered by Mr. Chrysler, and then follow going to your right, your left. The second question will be first answered by Ms. Williams, and then it'll go that way around Mr. Chrysler will be last, so on and so forth. So each candidate will have an opportunity to be the first to answer a question. Okay, 8 questions, 8 candidates. Mr. Snell?
Good evening, everyone. Hinds County has a violent crime rate, especially murder. What will you do as sheriff to help fix this problem?
Thank you for that question. I guess the best way to answer that question, what am I already doing? And what I am doing right now, I've already had a opportunity to present to the Board of Supervisors a memorandum of understanding to work with all of the municipalities within Hinds County, but not just Hinds County, the Tri-County area, to take illegal guns off the street. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest problem in our community right now is these dirty guns. Dirty guns are guns that are in possession by convicted felons. In America, if you are a convicted felon, you cannot carry a firearm. So just by the fact that you are in possession of it, you are committing a criminal act. What we're doing is setting checkpoints up throughout the city of Jackson and around Jackson to ensure that we get these dirty guns out of our community. But it's much more than that. We also have a lot of young people who are in possession of firearms who have never been in the system before. It is illegal for a person under the age of 21 to possess a gun. We have 2 categories of these type of criminals, and we need to be vigilant about removing the guns and those criminals from our community. But it goes much more than that. We need to educate our youth on why it is important to value life. I do believe that the young people in our communities right now are not getting the lectures that I got when I was a young man. My 30 years of law enforcement affiliation teaches me that we have to look at a holistic approach to solve the problems going on in the city of Jackson. We also have relationships that I think are very important to have established with the Board of Supervisors. By virtue of me being unanimously picked for this position, lets you know that those are certainly established. The other important thing to know about relationships is we have to have a relationship. I'm sorry, I gotta watch you. Thank you very much. Is that 2 minutes?
No, we have
Oh, you get 1 minute. Like I said, I got a clock in my hand.
Everybody about a minute, 30 seconds. Thank you.
Okay. So, I want to thank you for some of the things I want to talk to. When we look at what's going on in our society right now, I was reading an article that the FBI published as it relates to violent crime is up, and regular routine crimes are down. And he mentioned the fact of these dirty guns. We're having individuals, young people with guns. It is my belief that we have to work back with the churches, with the non-governmental agencies, and with the homes. Okay, we must also partner with law enforcement agencies, be it the FBI, be it ATF, be all the surrounding areas in order to address our issue here. What is going on? They're not communicating. The FBI is big on collaboration, working with different agencies in order to resolve issues. As your sheriff, I will work closely with all these organizations in order to address the crime problem within Jackson. Okay.
All right, thank you for that question. When it comes to violent crimes in the city of Jackson, I have been a part of partnerships during my career that I have seen successful. Due to these partnerships, you have to be able to include other agencies outside the walls of your agency as well. Along with those agencies, you are able to get monetary issues, manpower issues. You're able to get equipment in an effort to fight the violent crimes that we're currently plagued with at this particular time. Again, you have to be able to identify the perpetrators that are responsible for the violent crimes as well. Community policing plays a major factor in this. You must have an established platform of community policing, a relationship with the community as well. We have to assure the community that you are ambassadors for law enforcement. The persons or the people that are responsible for these crimes are in your community, and we need you all to feel comfortable enough to be able to report that information back to your nearest law enforcement agency as well. Thank you.
All right, great question, Mr. Sale. What I want to talk to you about, the first thing is just being transparent. If you look back, we've had three sheriffs, 3 terms, 15 years, and in those 15 years, a lot was cut out. These programs was cut out. I told you in the first 15 days, I would hit the ground running. I want to bring back the Fugitive Apprehension Unit with Hinds County. That unit was disbanded, hadn't been in session since McMillan passed because the 3-term sheriffs got rid of it. I also want to bring back the Hinds County Flex Unit made up of investigators and patrol going out hitting the streets. Now, I'm going to tell you, under the Flex Unit, we're going to serve the 1,500 warrants that are unserved right now in Hinds County. There's 1,500 warrants that are unserved that the citizens of Jackson are in the dark about. If you serve the warrant, you take the gun off the street. If you serve the warrant, you take the criminal off the street. If you serve the warrant, we'd be a better society and Hinds County would be better. I'm Leon Seals, and I'm telling you, I have a 15-day plan. We hit the ground day one running. Also, with my 10 seconds left, also, these were programs that we had under Macmillan, and they worked. So all the way from the city, all the way to the rural areas, these programs work. I want to bring the programs back. I want to make Hinds County Sheriff's Department a sheriff's department again.
All right, everything that was just said can be summed up in one word: proactive. You can't sit around and wait for a crime to occur. You've got to go out and target these high crime areas. That's why pulling data is so important. As to the question, the homicide rate in Jackson, I believe, is 123 now. We're on record to beat last year's record, which was the all-time record of homicides. You've got to be proactive. Most of these individuals, these criminals that are committing these crimes aren't first offenders. You have to work with the DA's office. There's several things you can do, but being proactive is the most important one, and also working with the community to get information from the community. We've lost that trust nationwide over the last couple of years, and we need to rebuild that. Thank you.
Pretty much everything's been said tonight, I've said since 2015 when I first ran for sheriff.
Oh, okay.
Many of you know I ran for mayor, in the city of Jackson, this past year.
Are they taking questions?
I was really out in touch with the neighborhoods. I know a lot of issues, a lot of problems. Through my company, I own my own investigation security company now. I work closely with the youth. Every year I spend 2 months at youth camp on security at a camp. I work closely with them. The reason I ran for sheriff was because back in the 80s, I used to work closely with gangbangers, and most of them came from fatherless homes. And so I tried to mentor them, get them jobs, get them off the streets. So they contacted me 4 days before the election, asked me to run. You can sit a gun up here on the table, it's not gonna kill anybody. We've got to reach out to our youth. Guns by themselves won't kill anybody. It's people behind, we got to change hearts. We got to let our youth know that we're not enemies. They're brothers and sisters, and we love on each other.
Okay, my name is Reginald Thompson. The 1 minute question here will take me to answer about all day. I'm real short. We need to come together, become one community, respect each other, put God back in our life. That's how we can make Hinds County a lot safer. Without God, we will not have a safer place. People in Hinds County deserve a sheriff that will come out and work with them. We have to have community police. Putting everybody in jail is not going to solve the solution. We have to get our kids to grow. It's easier to raise a strong child than to fix a broken man. Let's start raising our children while they're young. That way they'll cut the crime out. Because if you raise them strong, they're not going to commit the crime, and You won't have to fix it on the person.
Now she asking me questions.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if the interim sheriff had done his homework, he would know that we have MOU as far as Newton County, working to try to stem the flow of narcotics coming into Hinds County, which relates directly to murders and problems in our community. Now, let me just enlighten you on this. Currently, Hinds County has deputized officers for the University Medical Center, for Hinds Community College, for Edwards, Bolton, Raymond, Clinton, D.I. Love Jackson State University, and the Jackson Police Department. They have been deputized to be able to work all over the county and go across boundary lines in order to be able to assist, if they're in Jackson or coming in to do that. That's already in place. But that wasn't told to you because apparently somebody didn't know their homework. So, if you can't solve or stop a murder in what's supposed to be a contained environment in your jail that you're responsible for, well, how can you stop murders on the streets of Jackson?
I appreciate Mr. Walls. I'll be getting extra time tomorrow night. Thank you very much. Let me just say this. Not only do I do homework, I give homework. At the end of the day, I want to be very clear about this. This job is not for people who are in it to make boisterous statements, okay? I've been doing this for 30 years. I too have done shot in the line too. I want to be very clear about the people here. What keeps me up at night is these babies down in the streets.
Yes.
The reason why I'm getting dirty guns off the streets, because it's those dirty guns that's coming. And I'm committed to that. And what also I'm committed to, Dr. Mangum, is I'm not going to rest until they say about Hinds County the same thing they say about Rankin and Madison. You better not commit a crime.
Thank you all for the questions. We'll move on to question number 2. Jackson has experienced well over 100 homicides in 2021. Most of these killings took place in just two of the city's 7 wards. Recently, a JC student was shot and tragically killed in an off-campus party. If elected, what steps will you take to keep guns out of the hands of irresponsible and violent individuals?
It goes back to what we already been discussing, young people with guns, people not being responsible, people not being held responsible. One of the reasons why our crime rate is so high in Jackson, it goes back, no accountability. People feel that this is a safe haven. They can come here, they can do whatever, and it's okay. A lot of that goes back to our lack of accountability, not only just for the police, but for the courts and for the citizens sometimes who will not say anything. So let's look at these guns. They have said that we want to take guns off the street. Well, first of all, we need to identify where these guns are coming from. And in order to do that, we need to do some statistical research on it. Where predominantly, you said 2 wars, the guns, the killings are happening. What is going on that would make those 2 wars unique to everything else? And then we would address those issues. Okay, if it's young people with guns.
Okay, thank you for the question. There are 2 issues that I see as it relates to the guns, okay? First of all, formulating a partnership with the ATF. That's something that we did when I was with the Jackson Police Department again, and that was successful. Not only does that hold the individuals accountable that are in possession of the guns as well, but you are able to have the U.S. Attorney's Office on board, you're able to federally prosecute some of the perpetrators as well. This sends a message to the community. Not only will you be prosecuted on the state level, but there's a strong possibility you can be prosecuted on the federal level as well. The second thing is you have to involve all of the criminal justice components. You have to have law enforcement involved, you have to have the district attorney's office involved, prosecutors, and the judges involved. The judges have to hold these perpetrators, these individuals, accountable when they are arrested. And when I say hold them accountable, stop giving low bonds and bonds to people that are committing violent crimes in our community. I have seen murderers walk out of jail the same day that I put them in jail with $100,000 bond. We have to hold the whole criminal justice system accountable and not just law enforcement. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I think one of your best solutions to this problem is you have to institute data-driven policing designed to direct resources and manpower. Everybody's scared of statistics. They're scared of getting the stats. When you ask somebody about stats of the crime, nobody can tell you. That's because everybody's scared of it, everybody's hiding. The ones that are in leadership are the ones that are hiding it the most. They don't want you to know. The citizens of Hinds County have been in the dark so long, and so this is just another massage for them. But under my plan, when we get the data, when we get the stats, the flex unit and that fugitive apprehension unit, we're going to the problem. We're going straight to it. And I guarantee you, just like I said, the first 15 days, if you don't see a problem, or you don't see something solved, I'll step down as sheriff if you elect me as Hinds County.
Once again, I'd like to reiterate proactivity. You have to be proactive. Also working with the district attorney's office. Let's say somebody goes to jail for a felony offense and they bond out. If they commit another offense that's punishable by 5 years or more, the DA's office is obligated to revoke the first bond. That's not happening. All these homicides that you're seeing, this isn't these criminals' first rodeo. They're in and out of jail. That's what we need to do, try and retain them in the jail. That's why it's so important for all the other agencies to work together along with the community. But you've got to be proactive. All across the nation, we've got a shortage of police officers, not only here in Jackson, but Hinds County as a whole, and we need to work on that. We need to get more officers to produce less crime. Thank you.
Bottom line, everything you're saying is correct. What makes the difference between Rankin County and Madison County? It's our judicial system. You look at Ridgeland. Ridgeland in the last 12 months just brought in 120 new businesses. And why? Low crime. Citizens in Hinds County, or Rankin County and Madison County, they hold their elected officials accountable. We don't. We keep electing the same ones over and over again. And I'm telling you, I'm gonna do my job as sheriff of Hinds County. I'm gonna clean the city, this county up, as my record shows I've done in the past, and I'm going to continue. And I'm gonna expect the judges, the DA to do their job. If they don't, I'm gonna be on 6 o'clock news, call them out. So many times I've got calls from other investigators, and they'll say, hey, Mr. Tannehill, we got a guy over here in Rankin County. He's committed 30 burglaries over here, but 30 in Hinds County, but he said he committed one there, one here. We'll come over there and commit the one, we won't charge them one over here. Because they're more scared to get more time for one than we're 30 in Hinds County. So, when the judges don't have them down proper sentence, I will be on 6 o'clock news, you will see me there calling them out.
Okay, high crime areas. My plan is to enforce law enforcement on high crime areas. I plan on working 100% with the as starting task force, because those areas, old people feel like they've been left out. That's why you have so much crime in the two areas that you showed on TV. We have to make everyone feel like they're wanted and safe in Hinds County. Once you destroy a person's respect, they don't care about you doing crime. So we have to build one another back up. That will cut back the crime. Also, the sheriff is only a law enforcement that retain the whole people. They take the whole jurisdiction to help with that. The judges, your lawyers, your senators, your congressmen. All those people have to be on one team. With that, we can help build the county back, make it safe. Strong laws. They say everybody's scared right now in Hinds County. I also work around Hinds County. are also strong, accountability is strong. We need to do that. Bleeding hard judges, bleeding hard prosecutors, and taking the crime, putting it down lower than what really happened was hurting us. If they do the crime, we need to do the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, one important aspect of the high crime area, one of which I grew up in, and I still own property in that particular area, is the lack of police. Now, how do you solve it? You gotta have the board of supervisors, the city council, the mayor, to all kick in. It's financial. High visibility requires more police on the ground. High visibility brings in less crime. Down at the Rain Detention Center, on an average month, we serve more than 5,000 meals. So when you're talking about putting people in jail in a dilapidated building, which is none of these people follow here, it falls on the board of supervisors. It is their responsibility to keep that building up. That way, we can house criminals. It is financial. More police, high visibility, a decrease in crime. Thank you.
One effective way to solve our issues in our city and county, mentioned earlier, is relationships and collaboration. All agencies, all of America have shortages of law enforcement. But the way you fix that is you work together. In Jackson, Hinds County, it has always been silos between the Jackson Police Department and Hinds County Sheriff's Department, and even the Tri-County area. As soon as I took over office, I mentioned to you in the beginning, I set up this memorandum of understanding to bring us all together. And I also mentioned ranking in Madison County. Let me tell you something. Criminals are no longer respected by they commit crime all over the place. And that means that we all fight the same fight. So I believe all law enforcement agencies ought to be working toward that end to reduce crime. As I taught in criminal justice, there are 3 effective ways to reduce crime. One has already been mentioned. We talk about data-driven policing. But you also got to do something with that data. You got to make sure that you go in those areas with direct patrol and get a handle on that crime. And lastly, we talk about community policing. It takes us together to fix this problem. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. The inmates at the Hinds County Detention Center were discovered to have drugs, shanks, and other contraband. Also, inmates have died while in custody. The center in Raymond is at risk of being taken over by the federal government. What will you do to ensure that the Hinds County Detention Center provides humane living conditions for its inmates? Yes.
Okay, there are 2 goals when it comes to the Hinds County Detention Center. You have a short-term goal, and the next one I wouldn't consider a long-term goal. It should just be a goal, because it shouldn't be considered long-term. The first thing is we have to continue to address the federal consent decree that we're currently under. We have to continue to make the checklist and make progress. During my tenure with the Hinds County Sheriff's Office, I have been a part of the previous administration that was successful in addressing the consent decree and checking the boxes. However, there have been some incidents that have occurred at the Hinds County Detention Center, and we have to hold ourselves responsible and accountable for the incidents that have happened. The Hinds County Detention Center currently has 281 detention officers. There are approximately 74 vacancies at this particular time. You have to be able to fill those vacancies, staff your people, provide training. The other goal is build a new jail. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Well, the first thing is, we as Hinds County citizens have to be, get out of the dark. And when I say that is because if you talk to the right board of supervisors, they'll tell you we're gonna be from under the consent decree next week. And that's the biggest lie in Hinds County. That decree will be here for the next 2 or 3 years. So we have to, as a sheriff, I have to sit at the table and come up with solutions, come up with problems and bring that to the table with DOJ. That's gonna help DOJ to get out of here. But however, if you have 348 discrepancies, and you've had those discrepancies for the last 2 or 3 years, and now you're 3 years later and you still have 348, that's a problem somewhere else. Now, as a sheriff, I cannot be a sheriff without a jail, but I can be a sheriff to bring this to the light. My focus is, I will bring it to the light, and I will keep the citizens up to date on what's going on. If we're not sitting at that table coming up with the solutions, then this not gonna happen. At the present time, nobody can tell you who's sitting at that table, because nobody's sitting at the table, because DOJ is there by themselves. So we have to create, we have to go in, we have to get programs and make this happen. And as a sheriff, I want to be sitting at the table and coming up with these solutions.
That's a very good question, but I wanted to add something to that. You don't have to be in fear of the feds taking over that jail because they don't want it. If they wanted it, they would have taken it by now. Hinds County, we're stuck with it, so we've got to work towards making it better. All we have to do is go along with the Department of Justice monitors. They have come in and documented everything that's wrong with the jail. This is going to take a strong relationship with the Hinds County Board of Supervisors. Just like I said, it's financial. A lot of the problems don't even have anything to do with the sheriff's office. There's some of the problems are inmates are in the jail too long, 2 and 3 years, and hadn't been convicted. That doesn't fall on the sheriff's office, it falls on the district attorney's office. That's why the sheriff's office is just one spoke in the wheel. You've got to hold each other accountable and work together. What I would like to do is you're gonna have to have an aggressive recruiting program, because the officer shortage is dangerous. It's dangerous for the inmates, it's dangerous for the officers. Everybody that walks in there, you're in danger. So we gotta start working with the Department of Justice monitors and go from there.
Well, it's gonna start with a new jail. Well, that jail has had problems since day one. I took a jail operations course, I worked in the jail. I remember going down the very first day on the warrants division and getting locked in the office and couldn't get out. We were back there stuck in there for an hour until maintenance to come manually let us out of the room. That was day one, it was a brand new jail. It's been problems ever since, it's just plaguing. If you had any idea how the millions of dollars that's been put on patches, not to mention, when the jail was first opened in 1994, it was, gas costs alone for transporting prisoners was $1 million. Just fuel alone, that's not counting purchase of vehicles to do the transport, that's not counting the upkeep of the vehicles. So the bottom line is the sheriff can't do his job. We can't fix what's going on in the city right now if we have an adequate place to put inmates. That would correct a lot of the problems that's going on down there with the treatment, you know. It's, we've got in recruiting, trying to get everything in here in a minute.
Okay, since everybody already talked about jail, let's talk about company and safety. You need more officers. When I first went in jail, there was a yellow line of jail from inmates. Now, if you a person that's been in jail for a violent crime, and you got something about your mind, that yellow line not gonna stop. That jail needs to be built more secure. All my military life, I was combat. So combat means we attack and defend. That jail needs to be built for it to protect the workers of the jail and inmates of the jail. It's not that. And inmates can take them extra locks, stick a little piece of soap in it, that lock won't lock. They show us how they do it. That's how they can get in there. You got one jail and 20 inmates, what can you stop? 80% of the people working in jail are female. If you're a female in here, can you stop 12 men from coming through that door? Especially the lock on, what you call it? Okay? Thing with the jail is safe. That's what we need, build a new jail. They didn't tell you that jail built on top of garbage dump. Did anybody know that? That's why it's falling apart. You can't look at no type of thing. That's all we need. New jail, going forward. I'll take that. Hey, get in the city. Yeah. How many people in here will turn down $5,000 just by themselves on the jail? Okay, that's the problem. Pay the people, they won't take it.
prepared to be in. A new jail is estimated to cost taxpayers in this county for 150 beds, $20 million. $20 million for 150 beds. Hinds County went under the consent decree starting in 2015. The lawsuit was filed in 2016. 2016 no end date. The jail did not have a homicide until this most recent event, dating back to about 2014, 2015. And we had some. Anyway, what I'm trying to share with you is not what we're going to do, what we've already been doing and what we will continue to do. We hired more than 200 people to work down in the jail. Hiring is not the issue, it's retention. That's one of the problems. We reinstalled 73 doors and converted them from sliding to swing doors. So we've done a whole lot down there. We've hired 7 mandated positions by the Department of Justice. And yes, we do have issues. And yes, it can be fixed, but it's going to require input from the board supervisor who is responsible for the infrastructure of the jail.
A lot has already been said about the conditions of that jail. As I mentioned to you, I joined the Hinds County Sheriff's Department in 1992. I was there when they broke ground, and they should have kept moving. Quite frankly, that jail should have never been built. It has been garbage since they put it up. And we have been putting a Band-Aid on a tumor ever since. It has to be replaced. Let me tell you this, relationships again matters. This is the capital county. And being a capital county and having a relationship with the legislature, we can find funding that will reduce the burden on the citizens of Jackson. This is not a citizen problem, this is a state and county problem. And I'm going to represent you as your sheriff on Capitol Hill to ensure we bring them dollars so you don't have to spend your dollars. And I want to be very clear about this. Somebody said, nobody sitting at the table. Hello, I'm at the table. And I'm working with the Department of Justice right now. And I'm telling y'all right now, we're just under 88% qualified in terms of meeting those requirements. But let me be very clear about this. The ones that we have not met is fully in the purview of the Hinds County Board of Supervisors. And I've made this very clear, that they're going to have to do their part for us to get under the consent decree. We're going to get you 100%. And it's not going to take you 3 years, because I'm going to keep pushing, and I'm going to do my part, and then I'm going to turn to the supervisor and make sure they do their part. That's what I'm going to do as your sheriff. Thank you very much.
I thought he was talking about me. Nobody's sitting at the table, but at the same time, when you sit at the table, don't lie at the table. With employees. You show me 400 employees and I'll show you Santa. This whole administration did lies after lies. We got to get the lies out. We got to get a sheriff that's going to stand up and be straightforward with the people. And I'm that sheriff. I'm going to tell you straight up, when it's good, bad, or ugly, I'll let you know, regardless of what it is.
I believe we can do this all night, but I hope we don't. Let me just...
You don't have to flow. You have to flow down here. You don't have to flow. You don't have to flow. I think you have to down here.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, how in the world do you get 88% compliance with the consent decree and you've just been there a month? That had to come, if you're there, under another administration which was prior to Crystal coming in.
Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm certain that everybody knows how it is to sit in the seat. I'm in the seat. And I'm providing the leadership necessary to get this done. Let me be very clear about this. I never indicated that I came in here in 40 days and fixed the system. The system had a lot going on already when I got the kudos to the late great Lee Vance. But let me tell y'all something. Somebody had to take over that system, and I've done it. And I'm gonna tell you this, we can go back and forth about who knows what. I'm in that job right now, and I can tell you exactly what's going on. You can listen to somebody who's never been in that system where I'm sitting, or you can listen to somebody that's in the system. And I'm gonna be very clear about this. This ain't a constable job, this is a sheriff job. Not an institutional one. And I'm gonna say that again, as much as I need to say it. Thank you very much.
We will now give Ms. Williams a chance to answer the question outside.
Being that I'm the only one up here who has dealt with the Department of Justice Special Litigation and patent practices as it relates to consent decrees. I'm experienced in doing that. I did it for a living. Now, when we talk about this consent decree, the consent decree is only a civil suit placed by the Department of Justice Special Litigation, which identifies those flaws within a system. Now, they have identified numerous violations that Hinds County is in violation of. And some of the items that they identify are what we consider low-hanging fruit, such as training your supervisors, such as proper protocol and documentation, such as the inmates' trial, things of that nature. There are so many issues as it relates to the consent decree. I find it very difficult to believe that they will be coming from up under a consent decree within a couple of months. Because all the issues which are involved, be it the court system, be it the lawyers, be it the DA's office, be it the state crime lab, all those things have to be working in full concert in order to come from under those consent decrees. Those are violations of the 4th and the 8th Amendments, those civil rights violations. Those are the things which are documented in that consent decree. And those are the things that an experienced FBI civil rights investigator can handle.
And for the fourth question, if you still decide it all, conventional wisdom suggests that when citizens and law enforcement trust each other, crime is likely to go down. If elected to be sheriff, would you seek to improve your office relationships with the community? And if so, how?
Oh, of course. You may not remember, but you have to have collective partnerships across the board. And what I would want to do is install a quarterly meeting, every 2 months with my adjacent sheriff, with all my municipalities, and we set the table and we talk. We want to go out to the church, the community programs, our neighborhood programs, and we talk to the neighborhood associations, and we bring that trust back. But we also become transparent and bring back community policing. The days of driving a police car and not stopping in the community, that needs to disappear. So we have to go in the community, we have to identify ourselves, and let them know we're here to solve the problem, but we're also your friend. And we also want to sit at the table and have a relationship. So we have to do that, and we have to start it with our youngsters first, because we don't want them graduating to the detention center. So we have to start at a younger age, get that settled, and then it spreads through our community. So we have to do something about that.
That's a very good question. Like I said earlier, all across the nation, here included, the community has lost trust in law enforcement because of incidents that have had nothing to do with the Hinds County Sheriff's Office. They've lost trust. So what we've got to do is regain that community involvement, but in a non-law enforcement related capacity. Just getting out, just like you say, stopping and talking to folks. Have faith-based community groups work with law enforcement and bring everybody to the table together. Because I'm telling you, you think there's a lot of differences? There's really not. You know, when you're in law enforcement, it's a job that you love and you give your life for, but it's just like any other job. We live in this community too. So we've got to bridge that gap, and we do it in a non-law enforcement capacity. That way you see each other on the same level playing ground.
It's about trust and respect. The law enforcement has to trust and respect the community has to, trust and respect the law enforcement officer. As I mentioned earlier, when I ran for mayor, about the young gangbangers contacted me out there, well, they're grown, I'm young, no more, they're grown. One of the Kentucky was successful and, had their own businesses. One of them actually had a daughter who was Jackson State here, got her second degree teaching, her son.
What is this group chat
here
that
in New Jersey, and he wanted to thank me for getting him off the streets and because he got killed out here. Just don't lose one life, you lose the whole lineage. And so, two African American officers I had the greatest respect for when I first came to Jackson Police Department, Marvin, they don't do service. They took me under their wings, took care of me. I was on the white guy on the evening shift. Jackson, my baby had me, President Hills, all that area.
I was just thinking.
I was leading the sheriff, the precinct for felony arrest every month. And Rufus and Marvin asked me one time, he said, Les, you're white. I said, yeah. And he said, these are our people out here. You get more information and cases solved than we do. I said, it's not about color, it's about trust and respect. If you got that trust and respect, you build that trust and respect, the trust and respect you, you'll have a better working condition.
My theory goes community police. Police have to be known. I'm assistant chief in the town of community small. Crime is most crime we have is four-wheelers. Everybody knows about my first name. Guess why crime is low? If someone do anything, they've been supposed to knock around, I get a phone call. Yeah, who did whatever. Their crime is solved. That's why you got to have the community. The whole community has to embrace the law enforcement, like law enforcement has to embrace the community. Another thing I seen while I was working on the sheriff department. Let's help you, the community. Police used to go around and help the handicapped. It wasn't their job.
This is why I turned the chat feature off on the YouTube.
If you got a police officer,
This is our chat.
somebody need a house, they stay hand in hand, and they have a conversation like a family. That's what we need. That's my goal. Have more community functions, work hand in hand with the community. That right there will make people trust one another. That's what we need right now, trust.
There is one consistent thing that you want to hear from every candidate here, and I think every and it's cops. Community-oriented policing strategies. Now, how it's used and what level it's used at, we may differ in opinion on that, but you will not get away from cops. You gotta put officers in the community that can relate to the community that they serve. That means that they got to be trained and trained properly as how to go out and utilize community-oriented policing strategies. You gotta do that. It's gotta start at the academy. You gotta go from the academy to the training officer. And the training officer, you gotta push that with new officers that's coming in and coming into your community. The old officers, we gotta retrain them. We gotta retrain them.
That's real.
We got some officers, because when I hear people say, I don't want to get involved, I don't want to do my name, because the officer is telling the person I'm complaining on where the complaint came from. That's a training issue, as well as with our communication division. That's a training issue, ladies and gentlemen. Cops is the way, and I believe everybody on this panel will agree with that, but it's just what level that you're talking about implementing cops in the community.
There's no doubt that community policing is certainly one of the best strategies in North County. You gotta go a little further than that. At the end of the day, what I've done in the past 60 days is establish committees that I can meet with on a regular basis and get a temperature of the community. A community advisory committee is in order, and I am definitely making sure that I have that established. And also a business advisory committee, because let's be honest, people want to make sure they get an ROI on what they invest. And I know that the people in the city of Jackson and around Hinds County who have businesses want their businesses to be safe. And then finally, we have to focus on the faith-based community. We have churches all over the city of Jackson, and we have pastors who are open and certainly dedicated to helping us fix this problem. So I've created this committee called Pastors on Patrol. Now, what they are dedicated in doing is putting their resources together and ensuring that we put community systems in place where they can bring these young people underneath the house of worship and making sure they counsel them the proper way so we can get their souls back in order. Because right now we got a problem with our youth in the city. And the only people going to fix that is the pastors and Jesus. And at the end of the day, I'm going to make sure that I partner them to make sure we get our youth back in order. Thank y'all for that.
Of course, we all have heard a lot about training and policing. In fact, I started supervising the first weed and seed program. That's community oriented policing, that's not the other weed and seed. Okay? You're right, we must increase our community engagement. We must restore faith and trust in law enforcement. Today, as I was on the campaign, several citizens I talked to mentioned about trust, integrity. Wait, let's talk about integrity, let's talk about trust. Those are major components. Those are major components as it relates to law enforcement that the community can relate to us. As a 31-year law enforcement officer, that's what I bring to this job. Integrity. Having worked in law enforcement for 31 years, never been reprimanded, never received a letter telling me I need to go for my misconduct. Taking pride in everything that I have done as a law enforcement officer, being honest indeed. In order for us to elect the Hinds County Sheriff, the highest sheriff in this county, that person must demonstrate integrity. Not integrity tomorrow, not integrity today, but throughout their entire career, that should have been demonstrated. So, Beverly Harris Williams, 31 years, 14 years military, total integrity. That's what I bring to this job.
Everybody's talking about community policing, and again, we all will agree that you have to have a platform for community policing. Within that platform, you have to be transparent with the citizens at all times. You have to have an open relationship with the citizens as well. Again, you have to assure them that they are ambassadors for law enforcement, but not only that, that you will protect them and you will make sure that they are protected in the event that they have to come with you with vital information to help you solve some of the most horrific cases that you may be investigating. You have to involve your local churches, your nonprofit organizations, and you have to involve your schools as well. There has to be a team effort and a collaboration between law enforcement and the citizens at all times. You have to continue to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the citizens as well. Not only that, you have to pay attention to the trends that are occurring nationwide. We're grateful and we're thankful that they haven't happened here on the home front, but you have to train your officers to be able to prevent those from happening and coming within your jurisdiction as well. Thank you.
Could you all please ensure to the time guidelines set by the department? For further guidance, could you all look to Dr. Magnum for the time watch? Thank you.
Good evening again, everyone. So, Mr. Spooner, many families and businesses have left Jackson and moved to other parts of the county or to different counties altogether, presumably due to the prevalence of crime. With Jackson being the economic hub of Hinds County, besides reducing crime, if elected, How will your administration help encourage economic development in Hinds County?
Well, it's no myth, they are gone because of the crime. It's not a perception. And as far as getting businesses back, you've got to reduce the crime. There's no other way around it, you know. You also have to remember what the main responsibility of the sheriff is. That's security of the jails, the courthouses, and unincorporated areas of the county. That's his main job, you know. We've got to focus on the main job first. We've got to clean our own house before we start cleaning everybody else's house. But if you reduce crime, businesses will come back. But they're not coming until you do that. It's just not gonna happen.
Well, a lot of folks take office don't realize crime and prosperity go hand in hand. You got high crime, you got low prosperity. Low crime, you get high, that's what I'm just talking about. Ridgeland, bringing in 120 new businesses in the last 12 months. You know, we've got to work together, you know, turn on the news. Look what you said to board supervisors meeting, it's embarrassing. Time we turn the news on, national news, we're on there about the highest murder rate in the city, in the county. We're on about the water, our infrastructure, and it's, that's why businesses are fleeing here. People are fleeing here. They're not only just leaving, Jackson, they're leaving Hinds County. Jackson is our capital city. What happens in Jackson, Mississippi affects the whole state. And so the city of Jackson prospers, the county is not going to prosper. One of the first things people look at before they move to a county or an area is a major city. What do you think they see when they look at the city of Jackson, what they see on national news right now? Did you move your family here? So we've got to turn that perception around. Hinds County Sheriff, I will work with businesses and elected officials to get that change brought about. Thank you.
And bringing businesses back to Jackson, that's gonna be done mostly with, not mostly with law enforcement, the city itself. High taxes running business out of Jackson, besides crime. That's how all the small town vote. Some of the Jack businesses that's leaving Jackson are coming to vote. They're coming to vote, no crime, no taxes, good water.
He's your man.
That's what they want to see the Jackson. Sheriff's Department, main function, detention, courtroom security, rural area. That's what we have to focus on. Jackson itself has to get itself together to make the businesses come back to Jackson. They clean up the streets, they fix their water problem, make the city look pretty, schools, and everybody's gonna move back to Jackson. Jackson's not no place. I come through Jackson, Jackson, talk to me a lot. So I know.
19 with the Jackson Police Department, and having served as the commander of Precinct 4, we had estimated 2,500 businesses in that one precinct at one time. During my travels around the county during this election and talk with business people and homeowners, they've asked me about two things, and it related to Jackson: schools and crime. Part of that issue is we've got to get into our school district, and this is what a sheriff can do, and partner with our school district and start at the very root and try to work with our children to help decrease crime in the city of Jackson. So this is going to be twofold: schools and crime. And where do we start? We target our children. Thank you.
You understand my answer I gave earlier that we have to create those partnerships that have not existed in the past. By establishing the business advisory committee that I've created, we can have those real conversations with business and find out what they believe some of the best solutions is in order to get their business thriving again. The other thing we have to do is we have to take an extremely tough stance on crime. You hear me say that often, because that is what's working in other counties. And the way they do that is they make sure they hold all their elected officials accountable. Not just the law enforcement side, but the judges, let me say that again, the judges, the district attorney, and the board of supervisors. Everybody in the surrounding county saying the same thing. We are gonna put you away if you commit a crime in our county. Now, the difference between Hinds County and Madison County and Rankin County is we have a lot of social ills that they don't have, just by sheer population. So we have to have a holistic 21st century crime fighting plan, and that deals with mental health. We have to address that. We have to address mental health, and we have to address the social services issue as well. So I'm putting that plan together right now. I just need a little bit more time to get it right. Thank you very much.
Reduction of crime as it relates to businesses leaving, the schools. We have a lot of areas that we need to increase. We have a lot of work to do as it relates to that. As your sheriff, of course, we will partner with the non-governmental agencies. We will address the mentally ill issues as they come into our facility. We will also address the homeless issues. These are all things that directly affect not only those coming into the system, but the homeless, the issues within our community as well. Reduction in crime. How do we reduce that? By working with the school, by identifying those young people who have issues, by identifying other activities, criminal activities within our community, and not being afraid to come forward and give that information by working closely with not just the sheriff's department, but with the police department as a whole. It would take all of us, non-governmental agencies as well, in order to curb this crime. We need to talk to our business, try to pull businesses back, but they're not coming back until we resolve our issue.
All right, as we all know, businesses come and they thrive where they feel safe, where they feel that public safety is readily available to respond to them and protecting them by all means. Hinds County is composed of 870 square miles. Hinds County in square miles is bigger than New York City. As the sheriff of Hinds County, you are ultimately responsible for all 870 square miles of Hinds County. Not only that, you have to be able to dedicate necessary resources to municipalities to help them. So it's not a city of Jackson problem. It is your problem as well. And you cannot sit back and say that those issues do not pertain to my agency or to the Hinds County Sheriff's Office. You have to provide resources to help these other agencies and these other municipalities as it relates specifically to the violent crime in the city of Jackson. As your sheriff, I want to serve the whole county. For 20 years with the Jackson Police Department, I was in the trenches fighting crime. I plan to do the same thing that I did for Hinds County as your next elected sheriff. Thank you.
You know, when it comes to the business community, we have to build relationships. We have to build a relationship with our church, with our homeowners association. We have to go out and let them sit at the table, and we all sit at the table together. But better than that, we have to bring pay raises to our men and women in our department. A better paid officer gives you a better understanding when he's out there working. And we have to do these things. We have to talk about training. We have to train our officers. Because right now, well, not saying right now, but because we want to have a community police, and we want to go into the stores, into the businesses, and introduce ourselves as officers, deputies. But in order to do that, we have to sit at the table and come to a common cause. And that common cause is working together, being in partnership, being there for each other. If we show a strong force with the Hinds County Sheriff's Department as being as one, not multiple, one unit with everybody, we are one, and we go out in the community and show them we can accomplish a lot. We can accomplish everything. But together we are strong, but individually we are weak. It's all outdoors.
Okay, so let's move on from crime. Mr. Tandyhill, You stated in your opening statement that, and I quote, "We have got to do better." In your opinion, what other problem is the most important problem affecting Hinds County, and what would you do to solve that problem?
Well, by far, the most serious problem in Hinds County facing all of us.
Let's see what the battery.
You know, it's all our problem. I saw on the news where a local law enforcement leader said, it's not a police problem, it's a community problem. Look, when you have young men dying out there in the street, it's everybody's problem. It's everybody. It's law enforcement. We have got to work together to stop it. We've got to reach out to our youth. For years, all the sheriffs are saying, we've got to have programs. We've got to go to youth centers, we've got to have mentors. I'm a certified mentor. I got a mentor to Camp Shelby's Youth Challenge program years ago. And it worked. So this is our biggest problem. This is the challenge of killing is violent crime. And plus, I'll always be open, honest, good, bad, or ugly, I'll shoot it. You know, right now, why won't City of Jackson release crime stats so we'll know what's going on? It's a fight between the council members to try to get it. We'll always release ours. We'll always keep the neighborhood advised on what's going on. When I was, that's it.
Okay, so far right now, like we said, we know the problem is affecting Hinds County. The safety of the employees, the safety of the inmates. Without the safety of the employees and inmates, the community is not safe. That's our biggest problem right now, the safety. To fix that, better jail, more employees, and respect. That's what we need. When we fix the jail problem, we have somewhere to put the inmates that does the crime, and will make the community safe. It takes a lot. Like it was said before, it takes judges, lawyers, senators. We all have to work together to fix this problem. This problem can't be fixed overnight, can't be fixed by a sheriff by itself, can't be fixed by a judge by itself, other politicians. All of us, the citizens, demand more respect and honor. That's what we're gonna have to do.
Let's be honest. Besides crime, what are we facing at this time? This sheriff's election. It is going to be up to people like you to choose the right person for Hinds County. Hinds County Board of Supervisors are guilty of hiring and they're guilty, ladies and gentlemen, of littering in Hinds County. They dumped the trash on the citizens of Hinds County in the form of a Pinocchio tyrannical leader in the form of Mr. Crystal. That's the problem that we face. Ladies and gentlemen, what I am telling you,
You're too old for that.
you got to go to the vote. You got to pick the right person. And I am telling you, do your homework. Where did he come from? He just showed up. Gentlemen, do your homework. Do your homework and pick the right sheriff. I'm Eric T. Wall, and I'm running for Hinds County Sheriff, and I am the right one.
Say it a little louder.
You have 30 seconds.
A minute 30?
30 seconds.
I just want to make sure. I don't really need it, but I'm gonna take it. But I'm gonna do this. Due to my good mother taught me, God rest her soul, I'm not going to dignify that. This is one of the most important jobs in our community. And I take it very serious. If you see passion in me, you see sometimes I get a little frustrated. It's because you gotta hear this noise to your left and right that don't amount to nothing. What we gotta do is focus on what's the real issue in our community. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it's us. We have to fix this problem. And the key word is we. We have to make sure that we hold each other accountable. And I believe in accountability. Let me just be clear. I didn't just show up. I've been doing this 30 years. And I've been on the sheriff department with Sheriff McMillan as long as most of you folks up here. I don't sit there and brag on that because at the end of the day, I stand on my own. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. So when I get ready to get into the pit, I can get into the pit. But this right here is more important than me. It's about the people. And at the end of the day, I want y'all to be very clear about this. Don't get distracted by the noise. We're gonna fix this problem. But this problem takes time. This didn't happen overnight, and it's not gonna get fixed overnight, but I'm gonna work tirelessly to fix it as fast as I can. Thank y'all very much.
Conversations, could you repeat the question?
In your opinion, what other problem is the most important problem affecting Hinds County, and what would you do to solve that problem?
I think a lot of it has to do with morality. The things that we have allowed to fester within our community.
Yeah.
The activities that we turn our heads to as though it's not important. So a lot of that has to do with each and every last one of us. We have allowed a small segment of our population to put us all into one area. This small group that's terrorizing, 10% of the crimes committed in our areas are by a small group of individuals. But as logical, intelligent adults, we have allowed this to go on to say we have a crime problem. Of course, we need more police. Police bring visibility. We need that, right? Of course, we need partnership to work with other law enforcement agencies, right? But we also need a change of heart and a change of mind, so that we can come together and tell these ill people in our community that enough is enough. We will not tolerate this type of behavior, the criminal activities within our community. And it would take someone with some backbone. It would take someone with enough courage to say this is wrong, enough is enough. And it doesn't matter who you are. So it goes back to me. I look at the morality, those things which people have been allowed to do and continue to do. And those of us looking at it, we turn a blind eye to it. So that's what I say. We all need to work together. We're under siege, guys. And in order to resolve that, we need a sheriff who's willing to go forward and make it happen. That's Beverly Harris Williams.
I definitely agree. There's a problem in the community. Not only is there a problem in the community, again, there is a flaw in the criminal justice system as well. We speak about judges, we speak about not holding people accountable. When you don't hold perpetrators or suspects accountable for the crimes that they commit, that gives them more comfort and more leeway to commit another crime, because number one, they feel like they're gonna get a slap on the wrist. Number two, they feel like they will be released back into society to continue to commit crimes as well. As we know, there's a small percentage, as she said, of individuals in our community causing havoc. These are the ones that are responsible for the majority of the violent crimes that we're currently facing today. When I was with the Jackson Police Department, I learned something. Everybody talks about a gang problem in Jackson. Well, guess what? You have an enterprise of gangs, from rival gangs, coming together, from the blood, vice lords, gangsters, however you want to put it. But they're coming together and they're committing crimes together. So if you have rival gangs committing crimes together, whereas back years ago you had rival gangs fighting each other, it's more than just the element. It is an enterprise, it's a money-making enterprise, and they're not being held accountable. We have to hold the whole criminal justice system accountable to make a difference in our communities. Thank you.
Okay, there's also a heavy word called transparency. You have to be transparent. You have to be transparent in everything you do. We said earlier that there's 123 murders, but nobody's talking about the other crimes that are committed because you can't see them because of the murder. There's a bunch of other crimes being committed, but because we're heavy in murders, you can't see them. And we talk about a new jail. We talk about working together, you know, and then we talk about our youth. If we don't control the youth now, we're gonna be lost later. If we don't take what we have now and shape it and talk to them, they would graduate to the detention center. And then you have a whole nother problem. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm very passionate about what I talk about. I'm very passionate about this sheriff's department. I'm very passionate about seeing what it is now versus what it was. That's why I want to restore the confidence and the commitment back to the sheriff's department and back to the citizens of Hinds County. The last thing I want to tell you, I'm not a politician. I've never claimed to be a politician. And I won't be political with the lives and people's lives of the citizens of Jackson. But at the same time, I will work for you. I will do what's right, and I will be transparent. And that is something that we can all go to the bank on.
Okay, Leon.
I'm gonna have to answer that question. The main problem is crime. That's what we're all talking about. Think about it. Crime is a common denominator in all the other problems. Jail, crime. Murder, crime. Everything resorts back to crime. And I'm gonna be honest with you. We're in what you call DEFCON 5, Code Red, whatever terminology you wanna use, we're in trouble. And we need help right now. Not yesterday, we need it right now. I'm all about mentoring younger folks, trying to keep them away from crime, but I'm gonna tell you, these younger criminals don't care. All the ABC after-school specials in the world ain't gonna turn it around. They don't care about their parents, they don't respect their parents, they don't respect law enforcement, they have no fear of consequences. That's one thing we need to regain. It's all about proactive policing. Thank you.
Just a reminder to the audience, if you guys still have your question cards, just pass it down to the last person in your row at this time, and somebody's gonna be coming around to collect those.
Oh, I guess we can ask questions. Whoops. They get them cards though. So now they can. It's like, yeah, see, artillery.
Hello, girls.
They've already wrote them. Oh, okay. I got you. See, yeah, they like, yeah, they was in the problems. Now I figure how do you get their card?
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, it's like you were saying questions to get to 8.
Given that you all have impressive law enforcement backgrounds, voters may need to look to other factors to determine their vote. Please tell us your greatest career accomplishments today.
And if they're catching people that aren't, they're not gonna make it until like 8:30, 8:40.
My greatest accomplishment was graduating from high school, graduating from a military academy, that I attended from blood sergeant to sergeant major to master sergeant. I was being to make sergeant major, but due to the fact that my age cut it off, so I couldn't go to the sergeant major. Being in the military, having 4 children, seeing them through life and experience, those are major accomplishments. That's why I want the citizens of Hinds County. Live your dreams. If there's something out there you want, go for it. Don't let anybody put you down or stop you from doing it. That's your major accomplishment. That's mine. And I want to see everyone in Hinds County get along. Just like everyone in here and outside. Remember, live your dreams. Go forward.
The pictures, I don't know, the pictures of my back, I was like, wait.
Greatest accomplishment. Greatest career accomplishment. I believe if you look at me over a 35-year professional law enforcement career, I believe on this panel that I am the only law enforcement officer sitting here that has been inducted into the American Legion Police Hall of Fame. I'm on the wall. Next slide.
I'll answer the question in this manner. Certainly from a law enforcement perspective, our greatest accomplishment was leading troops into battle. Over 300 troops into battle and bringing all of them home. As a combat MP,